Hi guys, so in this video, a couple of different things. I'm going to run through my entire Tim Burton movie collection of the movies that he's directed and give a little bit of an update as to things where I am with YouTube and things that are going on. So just to get into the update at first, just to take a couple of minutes of your time. Basically what is happening now moving forward with me is I will no longer be posting videos in the YouTube groups on Facebook. I have left all of them entirely. I have my reasons for doing so. In my opinion, it has become a very toxic environment for me. My mental well-being is a lot more important to me. I'm also no longer going to be taking part in the live streams with Playtendo. Me and Pete from Playtendo Guy are very good friends. We've not fallen out or anything like that. And I'm no longer going to be participating in any quizzes moving forward either. This whole thing has erupted because of accusations about me cheating in these quizzes have come to light. They've spread amongst people I've never even met and never seen. And I want to just completely disassociate myself with these people. They know who they are. I want nothing to do with them. And I'm just going to focus on my channel and posting videos on YouTube and talking about movies, which was the whole reason as to why I got into the YouTube sort of arena, as it were, just to talk about movies. But it has become very toxic and it is affecting me mentally at the minute. And I just want nothing to do with those people. I've got no hard feelings against them. I just want to move forward. As of now, just not participate in any live streams or any quizzes. It's just not become an enjoyable experience anymore, and it sucked the fun out of it. And I can only really put it down to jealousy with these people. I've never cheated in any of the quizzes I've done, but because of my vast movie knowledge, I guess it's just upset a lot of people, and I can only put it down to jealousy. So I just want to disassociate myself from that group of people. Moving forward, I'm only going to be making videos on my channel about what I want to talk about, and hopefully, you guys as subscribers and viewers just enjoy it and enjoy hearing my opinions, and we can have a bit of a chat in the comments below. That is where I am and where I want to move forward. That being said, with the update, I'm going to get into it now with the movies that I've got in my collection that are directed by Tim Burton. So these are just the feature-length films. You're not going to see any sort of short films in here or any Tim Burton produced movies like The Nightmare Before Christmas. These are just the movies I've got in my collection that he's directed. I think I've got the bulk of everything. There may be one or two that I'm missing, but I'm going to go through. I've tried to rank these in order of release. And so we're going to kick it off with the first one, which is Peewees Big Adventure. For me, this is a good little film. Quite hard to get hold of here in the UK, I think. I think it's only released in a Blu-ray box set. But yeah, I had a really good time with this. Really fun, really creative, really good stepping point and starting point, I should say, for Tim Burton. The Large Marge sequence in this is absolutely iconic and terrifying. Absolutely love it. Think it is brilliant. And just a great starting point. And I fully recommend checking out Peewees Big Adventure. So next up, one of my favourite Tim Burton films of all time, Beetlejuice. I love the creativity that is pumped into this. Michael Keaton is on point, even though he's not in the film very, very long at all. Given the fact that his name is actually the title of the movie. But this movie is fantastic. I absolutely love and adore it. As time's gone on, though, this movie was not a movie I loved the first time I saw it. It did take me a couple of rewatches to warm up to it. But I think this movie is just a wonderful masterpiece. Visually, it is stunning. The characters in it are entertaining. Separate sequences in the movie as well. You can pick them all out. They are absolutely fantastic. And I love Beetlejuice. I think it's great. Such a blast with it. this perfect blend of horror and comedy and visual effects. I love it so much. It's definitely up my alley, and it's one I really, really enjoy. So yeah, that is Beetlejuice. Next up, we've got the first Batman movie. Yeah, I can't remember the first time I ever saw this film. It has always been sewn into the fabric of my memory. Yeah, just really, really good take on the character, in my opinion. Because prior to this, I do remember sort of watching the Adam West series and just taking that for what it was when I was younger. This was just a very serious take compared to that series, which I really, really enjoyed. I didn't know at the time as well, Michael Keaton got a lot of flack for being cast in the role. And then people saw the movie and their minds were completely changed. I have an absolute great time with this. It's a 10 out of 10 movie for me. Jack Nicholson as the Joker is fantastic, in my opinion, as well as Keaton as Batman and Bruce Wayne. I absolutely love and adore this film. I can't say much more than that. It's one of my favourite Burton movies, but it's not my favourite out of his catalogue, but it's up there. It's definitely top 3 for me. Really, really enjoy Batman. I think it's a fantastic film. Maybe this is a bit of a hot take. I do prefer this over the Nolan trilogy. I'm sort of disliking those films more and more as time goes on, but this one for me goes from strength to strength. I absolutely adore it, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, that is Batman. Next up, we actually do have my favourite Tim Burton film of all time, and that is Edward Scissorhands. I think this is a stunning, immaculate-looking movie. The two-way partnership between Burton and Depp and Burton and Danny Elfman are just made for each other in this movie. Directing and the music just go hand in hand in this for me, and Burton's direction of Depp, phenomenal. I think it's the best movie that all three of them have made together. Absolutely fantastic. Love the story, love the acting, I love the premise, the setting. I believe it was shot in Florida. Yeah, I can't fault this movie. It's flawless in my opinion. I absolutely love it. Yeah, just a visual masterpiece and a visual masterpiece in storytelling. I absolutely love Edward Scissorhands. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. My favourite Tim Burton film. So next up, we've got Batman Returns. This again is another sort of childhood staple of mine. I used to watch this with Batman quite a lot. You can tell in this film that Burton was given a lot more creative control with this one, particularly with the stories with McDonald's and the tie-in that they were going to make Happy Meal toys, and McDonald's weren't actually happy with the finished product of the movie. But that stuff should come later, that stuff should be the byproduct of a film, not the other way around, which unfortunately is what we got with Batman and Robin. But yeah, back to Batman Returns. Danny DeVito is the Penguin, phenomenal. Absolutely love him, absolutely understand his motive, which is just pure jealousy, really. But yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, phenomenal. I love that transformation. Christopher Walken in this as Max Schreck, just, yeah, phenomenal. Absolutely love any time he's on screen. Keaton as well, returning as Batman, fantastic. But as I said, this movie feels very much more like a Tim Burton film rather than a Batman film, which is fine, for what it is. It still makes for an entertaining view for me, and I have a good time watching it. But I've noticed a lot of opinions have swayed about this one, that it doesn't hold up as well over time, which is I get and I understand. But for me, I do still have a great time with it and still think it's fantastic. So yeah, that's Batman Returns. Next up, we've got Ed Wood. This for me is coming up close to a masterpiece, in my opinion. First time I saw this movie, I didn't really like it. I fell asleep the first time I saw it. It took me a long time to go back to it. What sort of sort of kick-started my interest in the movie was I ended up watching Red Letter Media's review of the film. I think it was about it's 20 minutes to half an hour review of this movie, and I was hooked. I was riveted. I was like, I need to go back and watch this film. I had no idea who Ed Wood was as a person. No idea that this was sort of based on a true story that happened about a director who didn't have the budget but made films anyway. I hadn't seen Plan 9 from Outer Space. This was just a fantastic, fantastic watch for me, and one of the best movies about making a movie. I absolutely love and adore this film, and it is absolutely fantastic. Very, very much this movie is creeping up for me. I just find it absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to say it's pretty close to... I'm going to call this movie a masterpiece. It's very, very much creeping up to that sort of level of caliber for me. I absolutely love and adore Ed Wood and think it's absolutely fantastic, and yeah, absolutely adore it. So that is Ed Wood. Next up, we've got Mars Attacks. Now, going into this movie, I think this movie came out in 1996. I was about 5 or 6 years old when I first saw this film, and it was not what I expected it at all. I didn't expect it to take the turns that it takes. Really, really surprised me with its story and its direction. But what I sort of remember being imprinted on me the most after watching this film was its cast. I mean, its cast is absolutely phenomenal. There's too many names to go through. But for me, the cast was just absolutely stellar. None of these short roles are, filled by lesser known actors. Nearly every small role in this film is played by someone famous. It was just absolutely stellar and wonderful to look at. And the intro as well, with the fleet of spaceships, phenomenal, fantastic. I just absolutely love and adore this movie for what it is. It's not perfect, it's not great, but I have such a fun time with Mars Attacks. It's just absolutely insane. And I don't think it's a movie that would be made today because of its tone and its direction that it takes. I don't think Hollywood studios would think it's very bankable, in my opinion, with the way it goes. But for me, it's still a good time and I have an absolute blast with it. So yeah, that is Mars Attacks. Next up, we've got Sleepy Hollow. In my opinion, Tim Burton's most underrated movie. I have such a good time with this. It is creepy, it is dark, it has this sort of dull colour palette to it, except for whenever blood is shown. I mean, the vibrant blood, it's almost reminiscent of like a Hammer horror film with its vibrant reds. It just looks phenomenal. Really, really good acting in it. Another movie with a great cast. Not as sort of ensemble as Mars Attacks, I might say, but the characters in this movie are wonderful and they're played magnificently. I just absolutely love Sleepy Hollow. Very, very cool, creepy vibe to it. And yeah, I just have an absolute wonderful time with it. Not a Tim Burton movie that gets talked about a lot, and I think it is great. It's one of his best, in my opinion. So yeah, that is Sleepy Hollow. Same can't be said for this next one, though. Planet of the Apes, one of the most unnecessary remakes ever, in my opinion. I was actually really looking forward to it. I mean, as a kid, I enjoyed the original Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston, and I really, really enjoyed Tim Burton's movies. I think Tim Burton was the sort of first director that I came across, that I sort of discovered. Because of Batman and Edward Scissorhands and Beetlejuice, they were absolute childhood staples of mine. And then, to see these two giant juggernauts coming together, Tim Burton and Planet of the Apes, I was absolutely really excited to see what the finished product would be. But for me, this was just a huge disappointment. I think it completely misses the mark. The best thing about it, though, is Tim Roth has stayed. He is absolutely hamming it up and having a ball. You can tell he's enjoying it. I'm enjoying watching him. I think he's really good in the movie as the villain, but everything else misses the mark for me. The actual, when we go to like the city on the Planet of the Apes, it is dull. It's so dull. The physics in it are just Batman and Robin-esque. It just defies all laws of gravity, and it takes me out of the movie, and I just don't buy it. And some of the actors in it are just doing some strange things, and the ending, less said about that, the better. So yeah, that is Tim Burton's version of Planet of the Apes. Next up, we've got Big Fish. Now, for me, I've heard a lot of people say a lot of good things about this movie. You know, I think it's got a score of 8 on IMDb. Everyone says it's fantastic. For me, personally, I just can't get into this film. I don't know what it is. Everything should work for me with regards to this film, but I just don't get it. I don't gel with it. I just can't get into it. I don't know what it is about this movie. I just can't sit well with it. It's very sort of similar to with like Casino Royale and The Social Network for me. I just can't get into this film. I don't know what it is. That just happens sometimes. But yeah, I can't really say much more than that. I appreciate it for what it is. Like, it is a visually stunning film, but I just cannot get into the story. I don't know why. I just can't gel with it, which is a real shame. But yeah, that's Big Fish. But about Planet of the Apes, and speaking of unnecessary sequels, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. There are some good things about this movie. I'll get into those first. I think visually it is very appealing and it does look very good. I enjoyed Christopher Lee in this film at the end as the dentist. But that's where the positive sort of ends for me. On the negative side of things, this is a sequel that was just a remake that was just unnecessary, in my opinion. The original Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory will always be a childhood masterpiece to me. It is fantastic. I absolutely love it. This is sort of... It looks good, but it's oversaturated with visuals and special effects. Johnny Depp in this movie is giving a performance, but a performance that just does not fit in this universe that Tim Burton's created. It doesn't gel. It doesn't go with anywhere. You're confused as to what's going on with his performance. It's a bit of a disaster, in my opinion. It really, really is. I don't really like any of the kids in this film, including Charlie. I mean, he's just too well polished and too much of a saint in this film. I mean, this guy, I think Nostalgia Critic said, is he running for Jesus? He's just absolutely, squeaky clean, polished, in my opinion. Well, yeah, it's a flawed movie. I wouldn't go as far to say it's unwatchable, but it's not great either, in my opinion. So yeah, that is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Next up, a bit of a return to form, I think, in my opinion. That is the animated movie Corpse Bride. I love and adore this film. I think it is just visually is great. I love the contrast between the two worlds, the living and the dead. The world of the dead is pretty much more alive than the world of the living. It's colourful, it's bright, it's upbeat. But the world of the living is void of colour. It's void of anything appealing. It's miserable. It's dank. That contrast really, really comes through in this film, and I absolutely love the story as well. I loved the sort of little twist ending we got as well at the end as to who the bride was, and I thought it was great. Really, really fantastic animated movie. I enjoyed it. It's up there for me with Nightmare Before Christmas. I just had an absolute blast with Corpse Bride and really, really enjoyed it. So, yeah, fantastic little animated movie. And next up, we've got Sweeney Todd and the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. This again, for me, is another home run. Another great collaboration between Burton and Depp. Great to see Depp sort of take this musical approach with Tim Burton as well. I don't think in the previous movies we'd sort of seen anything like this. This, for me as well, is the last good Tim Burton film. I think this movie is very good. I think it's a home run. But if you're not into musicals, I don't really think you're going to like this film. But it has a mixture of everything. There's music in there, there's violence in there, there's great drama in there, there's a motivative story you can get behind. it really, really is enjoyable and entertaining, and I'd say this is underrated as well. I think it's sort of in the same bracket as Sleepy Hollow for me. But I have a really, really good time with it, and I think it's a pretty good movie. And yeah, as I said, one of Tim Burton's last good ones, in my opinion. So yeah, that is Sweeney Todd and the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Next up, we've got Alice in Wonderland. I knew this movie was sort of very successful at the time it came out and released in theatres, and I know it made a lot of money. I think it was one of the first few movies to make the $1 billion club at the box office. But I first saw this movie on this Blu-ray when it came out. I think visually, again, the movie is very good. It's very appealing, but I think the story and the characters and the casting, I just think it misses the mark completely. I've rewatched it a few times, and I thought, yeah, this is pretty good, but over time, this film it lacks in quality for me in terms of story. And you know, the way things go in the film is not what you're used to. I love the Disney animated one. I think that's a fantastic film. But for me, it's too strange. It's too weird. It's just too bizarre. I think Depp had hit a point now where it was just like doing what he does for the money. I don't know. I just couldn't get on board with his performance in this. I just don't know. I don't know what it was. Something did not sit right with this film for me as time went on. And I just find myself just not getting behind it at all. It's a strange one. Very, very strange film. It just causes a lot of mixed opinions, in my opinion anyway. So coming up next, we've got Dark Shadows. Yeah, and another movie I couldn't follow or get into at all, really. Not one of my favourites. Again, another one. Tim Burton delivers on the visuals yet again, but in terms of a film and the way the movie goes and its cast, I just can't get behind it. Can't get behind it at all. One of the weaker Tim Burton films, in my opinion. Very, very average. Just, as I said, couldn't get behind anyone in this film. Didn't really know what was happening. Just a bit of a weird one for me. So yeah, that is Dark Shadows. Next up, we've got Frankenweenie. Believe this was a remake by Tim Burton of one of Tim Burton's short films of the same name. I thought this was a great, sweet little story and a great animated movie, you know. Not as good as Corpse Bride or Nightmare Before Christmas, but still enjoyable. Still had a good time with it. Still thought it was heartwarming. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good for what it was. I don't really remember too much about it. I know it's about this boy who sort of brings his dead dog back to life. And it had a sort of real sweet charm to it. But maybe it's one for the rewatch pile. From what I remember, I enjoyed it and had a good time with it. So yeah, that's Frankenweenie. Next up, we've got Big Eyes. Amy Adams and Christopher Waltz. You know what I'm going to say? Visually, really good. Just could not get into the story with this one. I'm not going to say much more than that about it. Thought it was an okay movie. 6 out of 10 for me. Above average. Nothing awful, but nothing memorable either. And yeah, just thought it was fine. Another movie that defines the word fine, in my opinion. So yeah, that is Big Eyes. Next up, we've got Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I'm going to say it again. Visually, pretty good. Story, just couldn't get into it. Really. He's really sort of churning out these sort of similar types of movies, I think, in later years. It's like as if the guy's on autopilot. He just can't sort of recapture that magic he did with Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands and Ed Wood and Batman. I just think that early work is gold for me. But in later years, I don't know if he's sort of gone the same way as John Carpenter, where he's just lost interest. I don't know. But it just feels like that. It just feels like he's not churning out the quality work in terms of story that he used to, in my opinion. But this movie was good. It was, like I said, it wasn't awful. It wasn't a train wreck, but I just feel like it could have been so much better than it was. So yeah, that is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And the last one I have, which I believe is his most recent film, and that's the live-action version of Dumbo. Yeah, same again. Visually, pretty good. Acting in it, not great for me, particularly from the kids. I think these kids could give a tree a lesson on how to be wooden. I just really, really couldn't get behind this film. I know Disney have very much tapped into a sort of money-making cash cow with live-action remakes, but this is not one of the best ones. This is sort of in the same vein as The Lion King for me. It was just not good, not interesting, not engaging. I did enjoy Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton in it, though. I thought they were great. I'd love to see those two back on screen together from Batman Returns. But other than that, the movie was very, very forgettable, and I didn't really enjoy it. And it's a shame that that's the last movie and we have to end on such a sour note. But yeah, those are my movies that I have in my Tim Burton collection. So yeah, I'm going to say thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'm sorry to start the video off on such a bit of a disappointing note. But yeah, as I said, I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to leave the video there, and stay safe, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.